Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're back once again, or you're a new person. Anyways, today we're going to take a look at Keith Richards' Main Offender. This was his record released October 19th, 1992, right in the middle of the grunge era, or when grunge is kind of taking off, and a little bit after the Steel Wheels record and tour. And this record, essentially, it sounds really good, and it kind of sounds like the Steel Wheels type of production, but with a little less of the Steel Wheels gloss. It's produced pretty well, but not kind of overdone. It has like a nice, not super raw sound to it because it still has some nice production to it, but I think it sounds definitely pretty good, and the drums sound very nice sounding. And a lot of the people on this record were from his other record, and it's Steve Jordan, Wadey Wachtel, and those type of guys. So, anyways, we'll get into it and see what we have here. It opens up with 999. It's kind of a nice rocker, good riff by Keith. Pretty catchy, but it's literally almost 6 minutes long. So for an album opener, it can test your patience a little bit when a song's 6 minutes. And being that it's kind of a fast, nice rocker to open a record, I would have probably shaved it in half. And I'll keep saying that over and over and again as we go through this record or these songs because it seems like on Keith's solo stuff, the songs tend to be a little bit longer. Maybe he doesn't have, he's not really concerned about radio airplay, so he's just kind of doing what he wants to do. Then number two, Wicked as It Seems. That's another one. That was the single that I heard played on the radio the most. Not that it got played a lot, but that was the one probably most familiar. If you've listened to this record, you've heard Wicked as It Seems. It's a nice, cool, sort of mid-tempo rocker, bluesy, but it's a tad bit long. Once again, maybe a little too long. Then we go into Eileen, and this one has more of a 70s Stones kind of sound to it, or early 80s type riff. It's a good rocker, but I'm not sure many people would remember it too much after listening to it. But the riff is cool. And all throughout this record, I'll give Keith credit. Like, he was putting in a good effort. Like, these riffs are cool. And some sound like, obviously, he's the same guy from the Rolling Stones, 60s, 70s, 80s. So it sounds like he's, grabbing some of that kind of stuff and putting it on here, which makes sense because he's the guy who wrote it in the first place, if that's what he was doing. Then we get Words of Wonder. And so here we got to have our reggae song, of course. It wouldn't be a Keith record, Stones record, Mick record. I know they love reggae, and they've always got to throw a reggae on there. And this one, at roughly about 6.5 minutes, it just, for me, I'm not a huge reggae guy, so it just kind of goes on a bit too much for me. Especially at 6.5 minutes, you're kind of, I don't know, it gets kind of boring. Then we go to Yap Yap, another kind of mid-tempo type rocker, and Keith is singing in his softer voice, which I think is a better voice for him. It's not that powerful, but it does have a certain amount of bluesy soul to it when he's singing in that little bit of a softer range. And then we go to Body Talks, which was inspired by the band Rat. Body Talk, which was released on their Dancing Undercover record. Keith was a big Rat fan, and at one time he wanted to try to tour with Rat maybe and take over some guitar work with them, but it never worked out to where they could do that. And this is a 5.5 minute long song, so it's a rocker once again. Shave a minute or two off of it and you'd be fine. Then we go to Hate It When You Leave, another 5 minute long song. It's a, very Motownish kind of song. It's got that Motown four snare drum beats, like Satisfaction drum beat to it. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like the vibe because I know Keith likes that kind of music, and the song sounds great, but I could understand maybe people that would listen to Keith would rather hear more rock and stuff. But this one's kind of maybe a lost classic on the record, like a very well written, well sang. It just works really well when Keith does that kind of song. Then we go to Running Too Deep. That one's a good rocker. I like the riff, and except the chorus is a little, I guess, generic or whatever. But this one definitely, Running Too Deep, reminds me of something that maybe a riff or something he wrote for Steel Wheels and just kind of brought it out for this one because it very much, if you kind of close your eyes and just listen, has a Steel Wheels, definitely a guitar sound to it. Then we go, Will But You Want, and that's another fairly long song, and it sounds another one, kind of Steel Wheels-ish, like he probably got dusted off another riff from there, but it's a cool song. I like it. It rocks pretty well. Once again, the 5 minutes, I keep saying that, but that gets to be a little bit long. Then we go to Demon, the last one. This one's a slower rocker, and this one kind of sounds definitely to me. I know it's a Keith solo record, and I said it on the other videos, but this one would almost be if like Mick was singing this song in that sort of country style voice that he does. It would be the perfect song for a Stones record, but I get it. It's a Keith record. He does it, but sometimes with some of these songs, yes, if they were Stones songs, Mick singing them, he's got pretty good, they'd be pretty decent songs and pretty great songs to have on a Stones record. But all in all, this record's pretty cool. I know Keith's voice, it's kind of that sometimes, after a few songs of Keith, you might need to take a break and come back to it. Listening to an entire record of him singing, because obviously he's not a great singer, but a unique singer. His voice can work, and it works with these songs, and it's pretty decent. I break this record out once in a while because there are good musicians on it, and everybody plays really well, and it sounds pretty cool. Well, anyways, if you haven't heard this in a while, you might check it out and tell me what you think. I think it's pretty cool. Well, anyways, we'll thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.